Hey everybody, welcome to the second half of the course. I'm Emil Ahangadzadeh, and I'm going to be walking you through this process. Congratulations on completing the first half, which was to complete the Securing the Human course, putting yourself in the shoes of your end user so you can see exactly what it is that they're going to be going through and what they're going to be learning about. So now here in the second half, you're going to be learning a lot more about how to actually implement the program and how to get the most out of the program in its entirety. And that's what this webinar is pretty much going to be all about. We're going to walk you through the second half so you can see what to expect, what the protocols are, what the processes are, and so that at the end of the session, you'll be able to jump into the course and just get through it as quickly as possible. Now, we expect that this second half is going to take anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, but as I say that, I want to make sure that you know that there are some planning components involved in this second half that might require input from other stakeholders in your school district or your local education agency, and that might involve some coordination, some meetings and so forth, so that might extend the time period. But generally speaking, you should be able to get through this in about a 6 to 8 hour period, and you should be able to see how we've designed it so that it's a very practical experience. It isn't just about understanding how to lead an education program focused on cybersecurity. It's also a practical process wherein we're going to go through the onboarding of your rosters and so forth, and you'll get a chance to see all of that. Now, sometime during the webinar, I'll go ahead and let you know how it is that you can actually get your invitation to unlock this second half, so hang tight, and here we go. All right, so once the second half of the course has been unlocked for you, you are simply going to log back into your learning management system, Canvas, set by K20 at .instructure.com. And as you scroll down, you'll see that your fifth module is now available. Now, a quick trick for you to use here is to remember you can actually collapse the modules that you're already done with. So you can simply click on that little chevron that's to the next of the modules that you're completed, and as you can see, it's collapsing everything for you. So the next time you come back in, you don't have to scroll to get down to the fifth module. But now the fifth module is unlocked for you, and you're simply going to go through the lessons and the content that's provided for you. Unlike the first half, which was primarily video driven, the second half is primarily text, image, and activity driven. So you'll see, just like the first half, the modules all have prerequisites. So in order for you to access the sixth module, you will need to complete the fifth module. So the way you complete the fifth module is by meeting the requirements of the individual lessons. And you'll notice that most of them are just about viewing the particular lesson. And once you've done so, you'll get your green check mark on the right-hand side, and you can then move on to the next part of the lesson. But some of them are asynchronous discussions and so forth. So let's take a look at the first assignment. It's called Accessing Resources. So in context of this program, we're providing you with a private hub using the K12 tapt.org webpage that provides you with a number of additional resources. Specifically for you as a Sentinel, I'm talking about PDFs of posters and newsletters that you can take and manipulate and co-brand if you'd like to. There are a whole bunch of resources on there as well, including some privileged IPs and domains that you might want to block. We have access to the information provided by the Homeland Security about very sensitive IP addresses that are suspected of distributing malware. And even though they eventually get into the wild and most security agents gain access to them, we have them as soon as that they're detected. And so we're going to post them in the Sentinels resources page. So if you're not a network specialist, you can take that content and push it over to your network engineers, and they can go ahead and block that stuff, which is a nice little perk. But the idea behind this particular lesson is that you're going to go through, learn about what you get in that particular section, and how to access the section. And you'll see the assignment is very simple. Once you've actually created an account with the Sentinels Resource Hub, you simply type done in the assignment and you're good to go. So you'll see that most of these assignments are very simple. They're just about acknowledging that you've actually gone through and you've done the thing that you're asked to do. You'll also notice that there are some asynchronous discussions. So in this case, for example, we have an asynchronous discussion prompt that basically says, hey, look, there are a lot of things to take into consideration when it comes to habits that are formed at your local agency or in your community. So we're providing you with a number of questions to think about here, and then we're asking you to just jot down your thoughts about specifically, what the habits are in your particular case, in your situation, in your school district, what you need to focus on. And then once you are ready to provide a submission, you just click on the reply button and you just go ahead and type in your submission. You need to make sure that your submission is at least 150 words. And then once you've submitted your submission, you'll see what everybody else has written as well. So you can either read their work, maybe respond to them if you'd like to. So again, it's just an asynchronous or not in real time discussion for this particular assignment. And you'll also have an assignment about thinking about who you're targeting in context of this program. So most districts are actually targeting everybody in their school district because this is the first year of the program, so they want a baseline. And provide the information for everybody. But you might want to be more strategic, and so this is a document that allows you to kind of think about your target audiences. So maybe you want to, instead of doing your entire district employees, you might want to just do classified employees, or you might want to just do high school teachers, or you might want to just do your senior leadership and your IT support folks. So you might want to target the group of participants for this first year if you'd like to. And so we're providing you with this little very brief activity for you to think through that process and just give us your insights as to who you're targeting, why you're targeting them, and just go ahead and submit that as a Word document, and you should be in good shape. Again, very simple assignment, but an important aspect of preparing to launch this program. The sixth module has a lot of really good content about motivation and providing feedback and gamifying your learning experience. You'll notice that at the end there is an assignment called Planning Your Engagement Strategy. And this is an assignment wherein we give you some tips about how to provide active feedback or how to gamify the learning experience. We show you how to perhaps use the gaming platform to provide some motivation, if you will, for your participants to continue along the path of completing the Securing the Human course. And we give you other ideas as well, like contests that are based on eligibility and maybe some prizes that you can give out. And maybe you might want to think about having an actual booth at an event. Or maybe have a monthly booth in the district office lobby about cybersecurity. So as people are coming by, you can show them some newsletters or give them a pamphlet or something to that effect. Maybe have a poster contest or distribute newsletters and whatnot. And so at the very bottom of this assignment, you'll see that we're asking you to make a plan. And there's no particular format, but what we ask you to do is to at least focus on 2 strategies for engaging your learners and sustaining focus, for you to provide a high-level timeline. You can get as granular as you want, but it's important to think about when you're going to do these engagement strategies, and then finally to take into consideration any budgeting issues that might be pertinent here. So for example, if you decide to have newsletters distributed to your schools, or if you decide to have posters put up in your offices, well, there's a printing cost involved. Now, we provide you with those newsletters. We do the work. We give you print quality poster work where you can go and add your insignias, but printing is a different story. That costs money. There's distribution involved. And so we're asking you to think through some of those issues in this particular assignment and then to go ahead and submit it. The 7th module is all about behavioral modification. It gives you some things to think about regarding how to get folks to change their habits and change the way they do things. We have a nice little asynchronous discussion provided for you at the bottom of that module. And then the 8th module is all planning. It's all about creating a communications plan, wherein we're going to ask you to think through a little bit about how you're going to get the word out about this program, how you're going to have folks understand the vision of the program, why it's taking place, what exactly is the culture associated with your particular school system that you might want to take into consideration. For example, do you have a lot of millennials in your district? Do you have a lot of folks that are baby boomers? And if so, how do baby boomers react to tweets? Or how do millennials like to read newsletters, or do they? So there's some considerations for you to take into account as you're planning your communications of this particular program. Then we ask you to also put together a web page or a website. Totally depends on how you want to do it, but this would be a hub, if you will, for your employees and participants to be able to access information about your program and about how the health of cybersecurity is in your district. So we provide you with an example of what something like that might look like. To give you some ideas about it, and you can certainly create an entire site if you'd like to, or you can just create a web page, maybe on a Google site or maybe on your content management system for your school district, whatever is most convenient. And you'll need to go ahead and submit the URL of that particular assignment to there. And we also ask you to create a presentation Now you'll notice in most cases, not all cases, when we ask you to do major write-ups of things, we've actually done the writing for you. We're simply asking you to go in and make it yours, customize it, edit it. So for example, in this activity, we're asking you to put together a presentation that you might make, and we strongly recommend you make, to your Board of Education or to your other stakeholders like parents of the community, or perhaps the union or the association, to explain why this is important. And as you can see, we've already provided a template for you. So you can simply click on it and go ahead and download the PowerPoint and then make it yours. And we've also not only provided you with the slides, but we've also provided you with notes as well to consider, what you might want to say during those particular slides. And so there's content available there, and you get to edit that and make it your own. And then you're going to go ahead and submit that PowerPoint to us for the purpose of this particular assignment, which is bringing us down to the end here, to the 9th module. This is where we're going to be focusing on how the phishing system works and how the analytics system works. So for example, you'll have an assignment herein where you're going to be oriented to how the phishing assessment system works. First of all, we're going to talk about the participation report. So we give you an example of what the participation report is going to look like, so you can kind of take a look at it and see what to expect. Remember, you get these on a quarterly basis. Each quarter we'll send you a participation report based on your roster. And then we're going to talk you through the different kinds of phishes or the assessments that we're going to be conducting, give you a little insight as to what they look like, what happens when somebody clicks on something, and then at the very bottom, you'll see that we're giving you examples of what the detailed reports will look like when it comes to the assessment system, as well as a sample executive summary about it as well. Now, the work is at the very end of this particular lesson, and that's when we're asking you to whitelist a group of additional domains. So you've already whitelisted the domains for you to be able to access the video content. Now you need to have your technology department whitelist a group of other domains wherein we are storing our images and our mail server, for example. And it's very important that these get whitelisted, because if they don't get whitelisted and the images don't get through your filters, then we're not going to be able to do much tracking of things in the behavioral dimensions of your users. So if, for example, if the email gets through because the mail server has been whitelisted, but the image servers, the image domains aren't whitelisted, then if the images don't open up in the email itself, regardless of whether or not the user actually opens the email, then we won't be able to know what operating system they're using or what plugins they have or what vulnerabilities they have when it comes to their different add-ons and things like that. Nor would we be able to know whether or not they actually click on the individual links. And so it's really important that these domains get whitelisted. Many of these domains are blacklisted on global systems, and that's because they've been reported as phishing domains, because in essence that's what they are, but it's an assessment for phishing and it's perfectly safe. So your engineers might look at the list and pop it up there and go, wait a second, these are all blacklisted domains, and they are blacklisted because that's what the intention is. They should be blacklisted, but you need to whitelist it on your system because we want to make sure that the learners actually understand how these systems work. So one of the techniques we teach, as you well know, in the when it comes to avoiding phishing, is we ask folks to hover over links in emails and then take a look at where the browser is going to tell them the link is actually going to send them to. And so if they look at the link and it says, I'm going to phish you right now, and then .com, then they'll know that, no, this isn't a good domain to go to. Now, when they do click on it inadvertently, or maybe because they didn't take the course, and they go to I'mGonnaPhishYou.com, they land on that landing page that says, hey man, you just been phished. What happened? No, it's a softer tone, although it gets harsher as the program continues. So anyway, these domains all need to be whitelisted. And once you're done, you simply submit the assignment and just say that, hey, all right, my engineers tell me I'm done whitelisting those domains. Then there's also a program execution plan that you're going to be asked to complete. Now, if you take a look at it, as I said earlier, this is a complete project plan that we're asking you to finish up here. It's really a compilation of the work that you've done within the modules. But as I mentioned earlier, if you open it up, you'll see that we've actually already gone ahead and written it up for you. You see, so your task is going to be simply to download the Word document and make the changes. So, for example, are you going to have a steering committee, which you should for this program? Who's on the steering committee? What language do you want to add? What language do you want to take away from this? So, as I said, these major write-ups, these project plans are already written up for you. You simply need to go in and do some editing and making it your own. Which brings us right down to the end. This is when you prepare your roster, and there's complete instructions provided for you here. When you click on that link, it'll tell you basically need to submit an Excel spreadsheet with 2 columns, and we're giving you a sample of what the roster looks like, so I'll go ahead and open that up. So the first column is going to include the names of your participants, and the second column is going to include the particular section that you want them assigned to. Now, a couple of things about that. We recommend that you kindly give us their full names in this format: quotation, full name, quotation, space, tag, email, close tag. This way, in the learning management system, when we enroll them, what will happen is their username will be their email address, but their display name will be their actual name. Whereas if you only give us email addresses, which is fine as well, then their username will be the very same as their display name. Their display name will be their email address. On the section side, if you want to, for example, divide your learners into their respective units or sub-organizations, say maybe departments or schools or whatever way you want to define them, which is perfectly fine. You just need to know that whatever section you put them in, you need to include the full name of your local education agency dash name of the section. You see, so you have all these folks in human resources, all these folks in the IT department, all these folks at Tom Brady High School. But this section is all appended by the full name of the actual local education agency. Now, you don't have to break them down into sections if you don't want to. You can simply keep them all in one section, the school district section. But there are certainly some advantages to breaking them down into sections. Once you're done with all that, you're going to take a quick little final exam. It's all multiple choice stuff. It's true or false questions. Very, very low level stuff. You're going to fly through it with colors. And then you're going to provide us with a copy of the email message that your superintendent has already agreed to send out, announcing the partnership and announcing that we are, in fact, partnering with K-12 High Speed Network and the TAPT organization, and we're going to be doing a cybersecurity program here locally. We've even provided you with some sample language to consider. So some SUPs will want that, some superintendents won't want that, but we're providing language for your consideration if you're interested. But once you have received that email from your superintendent announcing the beginning of the program, it's a matter of you doing a screenshot of the email and submitting that so we know that your participants are expecting an email from us, and that's when we're going to go ahead and send out the invitation to participate in the course and instructions for how to get started and so forth. There will be a final webinar we're going to do, and that might not even take place because the final webinar is really kind of a checklist where we're just going to take a look at everything you've submitted. And if there's something missing, then we'll probably end up having a webinar, a live one, not a recorded one. But if there's nothing missing, I'll probably just send you an email and say, hey, you're good to go. Good luck. We're going to deploy at this time, so please be ready. And that's that, folks. I hope this was useful, and I hope you now have a kind of a clear understanding of what your next couple of hours are going to be about. We want to recommend that you get started right away. This is a short year. Remember, we're going to probably cut off the implementation of the course locally in middle of April. So if you haven't gotten your folks onboarded by middle of April, you're probably going to have to wait until the new school year. So jump on it and rock and roll with this and finish it up so that we can get your end users started with the Securing the Human course. As always, please feel free to contact me via email or via Twitter. And on behalf of the K-12 High Speed Network, we want to certainly thank you for your work and thanks for your leadership as well.